bring me up to date then. What happened?
This is your last meeting.
Is it?
Yes. This is my last meeting.
Okay. Oh, did everybody get?
Just Tom's last meeting.
Okay, Tom.
So Andrea, looks to get planted.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so let's set up the recorder.
Lynn,
And then when you come back over here to your seat, unveil this. That's logging right now. They can't see anything. So I can sit in front of it and run it without them looking at it.
Before everybody can hear.
Yeah, so just,
Okay, so
you want the recorder up close to us so you can, so we know for sure it's recording.
I swear they voted for Jared. I mean, I counted 5 appointments for 4 seats.
You know what? I think I clicked on Lisa. We can see Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
I'll put it back over you.
Cool.
we're trying to get this in next year.
I can't make it big for some reason.
You doing hamburgers tomorrow?
Like,
I don't know how to get rid of her now. Oh, I bet it's this one.
Then yes. They usually put it all together.
How well I feel like.
They're distribution.
How'd that go?
Good.
Good.
Great bunch of volunteers.
Thank you. Did you click screen share?
Okay, this
how
is.
come all I see is me?
Food.
Did you see the car line? I think it was on television for Cypress.
Okay, we'll just leave it like that. And then, okay.
North of Houston.
I can't see you guys.
Just so many cars just backed up to the food.
All right, we're ready.
There it is.
6:01. It's a call to order this Bandera Economic Development Corporation meeting Thursday, April 16th at 6:01 p.m. Cindy Harrington, Art Crawford, Rhonda Corral, Laura Davenport, Andrea Jankowski. I'm gonna do it one of these days. Tom.
There's no W, it's Jan
Jan Koski. Okay. I have a, never mind, I talked about it. Tom McKechnie, present, and Megan Lamb, EDC administrator. Okay, so the city had their meeting this morning, and for the resolution that we looked at last week, there were 2 blank items that we were to give to them for the second reading. One of those was the total budget, which we did $100,000, and another one was $1,000. So it was mentioned that they didn't have enough to do the reading for the second time because they wanted to know account numbers that the money was coming from, which I'm not saying that was not a legitimate request, but all I was told was to provide them what was in the resolution. So what happened was when I sent them our motions on what all we did as a transparency so they could understand what we were thinking and the bigger picture, that all got put on their agenda item. So I'm not really sure, I don't know what the intent was with that. It was something that caught me off guard. And so they went through every single one. So I couldn't even keep up with which ones were tabled and which ones weren't. So tonight, we do not have the budget. They did not approve the budget. They did not read a second reading for the resolution, and they tabled many things to include the actual stimulus package to be completed or to be reviewed again in their May 7th meeting. So to me, that was clear that there's no longer an urgency for this. I mean, the city council has basically that's no urgency on their part. Even though when it was handed over to us, it was like, have this meeting, come up with something, we need to get this going. And so I felt like I tried to convey what all conversation we had, where we started, how we got to where we got to, being which we've come up with a lot more information since then, which we can talk about. But basically, I wanted to give them an idea of what our conversation was and why we came up to this package. I was not allowed to complete any of my
Absolutely
thoughts.
not.
Okay. So played as nice as I could to get as much information out there as I could. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. So, so what we've been tasked to do is we realized that in our QuickBooks, there's the budget amounts, it doesn't look like our approved budget dollars are in there all the way. And so Megan and Art was talking about that earlier. We compared that. So she's going to work on getting the QuickBooks adjusted from in October when the budget was actually approved. We can still talk about, based on our real budget, whether it's in QuickBooks or not, where we think that money should come from. If we're going to stick to the 100,000, or what we want to do with it. We're kind of back in the same place that we were, except for the fact that they specifically asked for where's the money coming from to make this stimulus grant account. We are not going to be able to review applications. They were. It was very clear to me that they were irate. Some of them, not all of them, were irate that I had the audacity to create an application and actually get interested parties. The words are in the meeting minutes that I created a panic by doing this. So I don't really know. I mean, there was one council person that spoke about that. So I'm not really sure how to get ahead of this when we're so far behind.
Well,
go ahead. Yeah, I really don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I really want this meeting to be positive. I really want us to talk about what we really want to do and why and where the money's coming from for the 100,000. And then for three new people will come on. We're not going to have our meeting next week. 3 people will come on in the April 30th meeting. And so, based on information I get from the mayor to support that meeting, we may have some more conversation to talk about.
can I ask a question since
Sure.
I wasn't there, or couldn't log in this morning? So is it the consensus that they do not want to do a stimulus package? Do they want to wait and see what the economy is going to do? Do they want to wait and see if Governor Abbott is going to give proceeds to federal money, and they're wanting us not to use what we have in our accounts? Is that maybe why this happened? I don't know if they said anything.
Yeah,
My interpretation is they want to do it.
Oh.
So why do we have an EDC? I mean, we did it. All of the concerns, the things that they addressed, we had already addressed in our meeting before, but they wanted to do it. And so, and I had a sense of urgency. I thought, was I wrong on that they're just, okay, we'll come back in 3 weeks and we'll look at it again.
there was definitely a sense of urgency prior to the meeting today.
Right, so they're
By
not going to
everyone
look at
except
it
I
until
think Jerry.
3 weeks. And then once they have a decision, then that's got to come back to us to make a decision and action. Then it has to go back to them. So it's going to be June before anybody's going to get any money. Is that?
And I mentioned that because my concern was the fact that they never gave us any indication as how they wanted it to roll out. They were like, you do it, tell us what you want. I asked for that. And so today in the meeting, and we've all struggled with this since December, they have a lot of complaints about what we do, but they give us no guidance about what they want to be done. We get individual city council people have their opinions, but they don't vote on it. And we the EDC don't get one consensus that says, this is what we want you to do. You go figure out the specifics and then come back. So it's been, I mean, we've clearly been in a struggle since December because we're not getting guidance.
Well,
Go ahead.
If this is something they want to be part of, then it needs to be a special meeting. I don't know where we need to hold it because obviously this place is not big enough to carry unless we just spread way out. And then everybody needs to come together and make a decision on where they want it, because if we're doing stuff that they're telling us to do and then we go back and they obliterate everything that we've done, it's not
Productive.
It's not productive. This is the same things we're doing over and over and over again. I mean, it's either we have an EDC or we don't have an EDC. And if you want to run the EDC, then we got to figure out I mean, I just don't understand.
Well, like
I
they
don't
brought
get it.
up that, okay, we have rent grants, so why not offer those? Well, we had a very specific reason why we didn't want to do that. And they said, well, we want oversight. Well, we have oversight. And balancing that with what we felt was an urgency. And so the questions, the concerns they were bringing up,
And let me just take that one step further, if you don't mind. We busted to get the information up here on Monday. We got them a recording, a tape recording of our meeting so they could listen to all of that. To me, it's inefficient to have the same conversation on the taxpayer dollar in two separate meetings with two separate boards when you're supposed to be agreeing on things. So Megan went and she typed up the motions exactly. Not, I did a summary so they would have a heads up, but she typed them out and sent them in, and she brought a recording up here to Jill. I said, give it out, let them listen to it firsthand. We had a lot of really good discussion. We came full circle. Not one person acted like they had listened to our meeting. And so that's disturbing. That is disturbing and frustrating. So again, it is what it is. And so I guess, I'm trying to think of the feedback that they gave in the meeting today, and Tom and Laura, since y'all actually were able to listen. You said you listened to the recording? So some of it was they were questioning the blanket across the board, and I did get a little bit in toward the end to kind of explain why we decided it was a small amount across the board, and we were hoping that there would be more money from different places to come into our budget. Help me with it. What other specifics did they?
Well, they did not want to exclude anyone on the EDC or the city council.
Yeah,
no,
they wanted to exclude. They
Yes.
wanted to keep it.
They wanted to keep it that way. They didn't want to go with
That was
our
one of
rate.
those things. Was to exclude city council.
So the other piece to that is, they kept referring to the code of ethics. It's not in the code of ethics. It's not in the state code. There's nothing against it. It is in our bylaws for Bandera City, and in our bylaws it reads that they don't qualify for incentives or loans, and this is specifically a stimulus grant. So it's not itemized in our bylaws as something that they can be excluded from. I'm pretty sure none of them did their research, and that was a shot in the hip.
and they certainly don't have to apply it.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
But there's some of the businesses, I think, that could really use it.
Probably sooner rather than later.
Absolutely.
And my whole thing is, why would you want to penalize somebody that spends their time volunteering for a city, and now you're going to penalize them in a fluke, weird, worldwide pandemic, and you're going to exclude them for $1,000? I mean, why would anybody want to volunteer? I mean, it's like, what
We're being punished.
Yeah, you're being punished. What were some of the other things they brought up?
Let's talk about different methods of how, using sales tax as a basis for, and we talked about that at our meeting, and decided that was too complicated, it would take too long.
Because we don't know what it's going to be. We have no clue.
Well, we're talking, they're
Oh,
passing.
So we
There.
wanted to just
There.
streamline the process.
Yeah.
And they were also talking about larger amounts,
So-
which would affect fewer people.
And I did mention the part we talked about with the box stores, the big ones that are bigger contributors to our sales tax, they haven't had to close their doors. I mean, they're almost hiring people to keep up with the demand, the local demand. I will say though that we got our check today for the March sales tax, and it was $21,000. I'm gonna write it down. I can send an email, but $21,492.21. So to give you a comparison, last year it was $24,170. So we're not far off that. Go ahead.
Was that, we actually got March's check there? February's check there.
Wouldn't that be?
This was March. We get it paid on April 15th, right?
Oh, yeah.
We've already entered.
Okay.
We consider it March. You're right.
I think we get it in March, but I think those are
February's no.
Okay, so it's actually, we're 2 months behind.
Right.
So
We
it
were up.
won't be until,
It went up 3 days.
so this is February.
But remember, we have more to go in February this year,
Yeah.
previously than January.
Well, and see, and that's why when I thought the January check was like 30,000, I was thinking that was Mardi Gras. We had a lot in January
Well, because January's check would have been for December.
or November. Actually, yeah, that would have been Hunter's Weekend. But we have a good Hunter's Weekend.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, okay, so this is February, so let me redo you the comparison number. So we weren't that much off then. So February's, we were like $100 more. February's was $21,394.48. So, I mean, right on the money, we have $100 more this year. And February's really.
I thought you said this year's was, what was?
$21,492.21. So the other thing, so I'll probably have to redo the calculation. So, okay, all right, I need to show this. I was thinking we'd come up with like a half figure, and so it's actually gonna be April, May, June that I need to add and divide by 2. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so, can I go off topic? Speech, and then get back on topic at the end of that. Is it okay with everybody?
Sure.
So first of all, I want to thank all of you, and I want to thank whoever's watching on Zoom, and the community as a whole for giving me the opportunity to serve for the last 3 years. I think I've done a great job. There are those who don't think I have, and that's okay. But when I drive up and down Main Street and I look at the WOW building, I look at the old Carquest, the new Carquest, I look at the Dollar, I look at Meat Market, I look at
11th Street.
11th Street in general, I'm happy with what we've done. I'm happy with what I helped be part of, and I want to thank everybody for giving me the opportunity. That being said, I do think today's city council meeting was a disgrace. I do not think that it needed to be done today. Yes, we needed to be reappointed, but it's my belief that we could have been reappointed next month or unappointed next month, whichever the case may be. Where the people that were up for appointment were not given the opportunity to come before council and speak as to why. I did not begrudge Andrea for getting a seat and me not getting a seat. She's been on this board. She's done a great job as well. Nothing there, but I think the citizens should have been able to come and speak to council about who they wanted to see on the board. And I think that we should have been able to go to council and tell why. There was no reason for it to be done during this emergency. I want to thank Councilman Wayne Clark and Councilwoman Gibson for the support today. My wife wants to thank Lynn Palmer, Jerry Rissy, and Don Clark. So,
I can just imagine.
so that's okay. I honestly believe that I can say with all integrity and honesty that I've done what I thought was best for the city. And I don't think that city council did that today. And I think this says more about your character than it does mine. That's okay. That being said, I don't want to get into personal attacks as to why or how or what. I just hope that the council can work with the new board and can get things done. Our businesses are suffering. It's ridiculous to put this off for a month, 3 weeks, 1 week. People have to pay their rent today. People have to pay their utilities today. People have to feed their families today. So in the spirit of that, I would like to move forward making some motions that perhaps the next board that meets on the 30th can move forward with, and we can get this information to city council, because I want to be the bigger, better person and get this thing on track. And help our citizens and help our businesses. So with that being said, city council's first concern today was budget item numbers. So my motion is to coincide with the motion last week to create a fund for $100,000 to create a line item of 50101 entitled COVID-19 Emergency Fund for $100,000.
End of the motion.
That is not.
Okay. Tell me where it's coming from.
$4,000 from our advertising budget, item 40060. $4,000 from our travel and research budget, 40070. $2,000 from our audit fees, 40081. $1,000 from engineering fees, 40082. $10,000 from consulting fees, 40084. $5,000 from maintenance and repairs, 40095. $5,000 from City of Bandera unrestricted, 48012. $25,000 from City of Bandera master plan projects, 48013. $10,000 from City Park upgrades, 49010. And $25,000 from incentives, 50001. Is that up to 100,000?
What was the one for,
I got 100.
49 from Parks and Recreation project?
From our Parks and Recreation project, we have we have 25,000 in that budget. So,
No, my question is, didn't you mention that one is, you're taking some money out?
yes, it's
The
10,000.
25,000?
No, 10,000.
Oh, 10,000, okay, got it. All right, that does add up.
$100,000. So
I
that's
need a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Art, for doing that. That was one that needed to be done. So now we have something concrete to work with. The incentives, 25K. What do we stand in terms of assigned funds? I assume it's more than 25K.
with the little, the city council denied our $10,000 funding at TJ's today. So that leaves us around 50,000.
So that covers the.
Jessica, you need to turn off your
So
volume.
it's a little flexibility.
Mute yourself.
And the bottom line is, this budget was originally for economic development. We're in economic recovery. And so the accounts that Art is clearly making his motion to pull from, those aren't going to be able to be used for economic development because like I said, we're in recon.
Well, and as we get more tax money in, we have a project that comes up, we can always do it for the next board, can always do another amendment and add more back into that budget. So to give us this 100,000 today, this accomplishes that. As more tax money comes in, the budget can be reamended and they can start putting more money back into the parks if they want to, more into the incentives.
Well, this goes back to the fact that, we have no direction. I mean, we've been asking, they were in the process of doing the RFPs for the master plan and stuff. So, we don't really have any long-term vision from the city until they get that done. They're on their way, but, clearly they didn't want us to spend any money until that was done, so.
So, are we still in discussion on this?
Any other discussion? Okay, call for the vote. Those in favor? All in favor? Anybody opposed? None opposed. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, so that should satisfy that first requirement. That was the biggest hurdle today that kind of set off the chain reaction. And I will help you with that. That actually, in order to do a budget amendment, the city council, we resolution to city council to approve. So, my second motion, I'm just gonna make the motion, and if someone wants to second it, we can discuss it, is just thoughts after hearing, everybody else's discussion today. Some people say, well, $1,000 isn't gonna help do this. Some people say $1,000 isn't enough. Some people say $1,000 is too much for some businesses. And I know last week when we decided this, we were trying to streamline the process and make it equal. Apparently, city council does not wish to do that, so there's no sense in us trying to do it that way, because they're not gonna approve. So I was thinking about it after I listened to the meeting and driving here, and trying to think of what would be equitable. So, so let me make the motion. I would like to make a motion that the parameters, that the fund, I can make the motion that the funding of the COVID-19 emergency fund be tied to sales tax, rent, sales tax or rent or mortgage. That we would reimburse, or that we would arrive at our figure by looking to see what a business has paid in the last 1 year in city sales tax, not county, city sales tax, or their rent, or their mortgage, whichever is higher, up to $2,500 per business.
2,500?
Maximum of $2,500 per business. Okay, that motion is screwed.
I think it was clear.
Let me edit the part about rent or mortgage. Rent or mortgage for 2 months.
2 months, two times rent, 2 times.
Right. So if somebody second that, then I can explain.
I'll second.
So if you have a small business and their rent is $400 a month, $800 for 2 months, but they paid $1,400 in sales tax last year, they would get $1,400. So it'd be which is higher, up to $2,500. Does that make sense? Now, if their mortgage is $3,800, obviously it exceeds the $2,500, so they would just be $2,500. If their rent is $1,000 a month, which let's use a round figure, let's say the rent's $1,500 a month, so 2 months rent is $1,500. For 2 months rent is $3,000, and they only paid $2,100 in sales tax last year, then they would be in the $2,500 because $3,000 is higher. It would be the higher of the three: 1 year sales tax to the city, 2 months rent, or 2 months mortgage. So it would be the higher of those three, but no
And
more,
one can
than
assume-
$2,500.
One can assume that the bigger the mortgage, the higher the sales tax. I mean, because the rent and stuff on certain areas of town are higher than others. And reasonably so, because they're probably doing more business because they've got more foot traffic. And then if it's because of square footage, you probably got more employees that you're trying, more overhead in that manner. Any other comments, Tom?
Yeah, 2 things. One is I did not get that sense from watching the city council meeting that they were dead set against the 1,000 flat. If we do it this way, then another concern is we have no way of estimating how much we're committing.
We're going to run out of money quicker. The $100,000 is going to be
Probably
gone.
halfway through town, yeah. And so a lot of people are going to be left out because they didn't get in the first day or whatever. Whereas we had addressed that, everybody will get something.
I agree with you. I think our method is
I like the first one.
I'd also like to just make everybody aware that, the loans, they're out of money. I talked to a couple of banks today, and both of them told me that they're out of money.
Mhm.
There's a big announcement.
That's what I heard.
And even some people that were approved can't get their user IDs and logons.
Right, Hondo Bank is still waiting for their log on. They've got applications sitting on their desk that they can't approve, because they never got them. They've been approved to do them, but they never were able to get their log on so that they could log on to some of them. So hopefully there'll be a second go around, hopefully, but there's no guarantee. So I really, and one business owner told me today, she said $10.
So,
She said, you just can't believe anything y'all could do would be so appreciated.
I mean, I'm all for sticking to the guns and going for $1,000 a person. I just got the sense from council from a couple of council members that wasn't.
What about the fact that, I mean, we've been talking about, round one, round two, if more money comes, whatever. Round two was very specific, and I think we all came to the conclusion that get the $1,000 to them so that they can at least sort of keep pace and not get so far behind. And then if round two comes and there's more money, then this would be something that would be a little more applicable for round two.
Yeah.
I'd also like to point out that it was brought up that many of the people who are letting you delay your payments, they'll let you delay it for maybe the 1, 2, 3 months, but then at the end of that time, they're going to expect lump sum payment. Yes. So if people can be paying even a little bit.
And that's mainly because of the fact that they're delaying it, knowing that the money's coming possibly from the federal government. And then if they get it and they don't pay them, then they're like, okay, we're done with you. We're going to make you pay.
Follow up with that, yeah, I got a letter from my mortgage company today saying, you've been approved for forbearance. You don't have to make a payment for 4 months. But in 5 months, you have to make all 4 payments.
Right.
At one time. Well, yeah, what is it?
And that would make sense if you knew the money was coming
Yeah.
from an SBA loan. If you'd already been approved and they gave you a date that it was coming, and then you could catch up. But I mean, that's not happening. And in our community, we're just lost.
Okay, so I'd like to withdraw.
Withdraw. Or amend it to round two.
I'd like to withdraw.
Just a lot of time right now.
So I would like to make that.
So you just withdraw it from the table, and there's no second.
Yeah, as long as she would withdraw her second.
I withdraw my second.
So
All right.
I think there will be a new board that can deal with round two. I would like to see round one because we never really specified in our motions last week what round one was. I would like round one to be $1,000 per business, not tied to any documentation other than the fact that they are currently paying sales tax. For $1,000 to any business that was deemed non-essential and was forced to close.
End of motion.
Let's see.
Second.
So to clarify that, if they were forced to close, they
That's
get
good.
$1,000. Round two, the next board can deal with as to how they want to
So you didn't mention the word city in there regarding sales tax.
City sales tax.
city sales tax.
And city business
Yeah.
was implied, but not directly stated. Let's open for discussion.
Yes.
And so he amended it to add city, you said.
I don't want to exclude the businesses that stayed open because they still had hardships.
I agree.
I agree.
And so I think, or, a large business that was not making good business decisions, they were making community decisions to stay open and probably a law to say, well, yeah, you don't get anything. I think they should be thankful for staying open.
Well,
So I think they're eligible.
I agree. I totally agree. And I want to do that with them too. My concept tonight is trying to get something down that we can get city council to have a special meeting next week and approve and at least get started. And the new board that will meet on the 30th can deal with those businesses that are still open and what to do with the rest of the money. Because it is my firm belief that this board is sitting here right now could come up with the most perfect golden thing in the world that would make every citizen and every business owner in town happy, but it's not gonna make city council happy. So I'm just trying to get a little piece that hopefully we can get started getting the people that are closed and have to pay their rent this week or next month, something, get the pipeline open, and then let the new board work out details for the next group.
Because we already did the perfect plan.
Well, yeah.
We did a perfect
Right.
round one,
Yeah.
the money out there. Andrew?
Well, I think city council's gonna go for that. And I think one of their concerns was just handing out money without. I don't know if that's gonna fly, is all
Right,
I'm
I mean,
saying.
it came
I
up
mean,
to-
Because
they
of based
can
on
copy
needs.
their rent check. They can copy their rent check. They can, I mean, if they're wanting to
There's some-
provide, if they're wanting them to
That's on the
provide,
second, that's on the other one.
That's
I
not, that's
know.
not on the first round, that's what I'm saying.
I
So,
think they want something clarified. They don't want us to just give free money out because that person may be closed, but they may not use it for their business. They may be using it to feed their or pay their mortgage. So I think they want it to prove that it's going to their business.
See, personally, I don't care.
Well,
I
ultimately,
think
this money is not gonna save some businesses.
Yeah.
Right, it's not.
It's gonna
No, it's a
not
stimulus.
intended.
feed their
It never was
families.
intended.
Right, exactly. We don't know.
It was intended to help the most number of people, just
Give a little relief.
to give a little
Morsel
relief.
of
That's
relief.
all, plain and simple.
And I can't imagine there's a single business in town that hasn't suffered more than $1,000.
I agree.
So whether it is rent or something else, they need the money and it's going to go to good use. And so I don't think we need the common sense of the documentation.
So what
Then
about
money
the
will go.
prioritizing of it? So like, we have this criteria, those are the ones that kind of get moved to the top. And then we have, the next ones would be, maybe the one, and I love the point that you made, Tom, about that, they chose community. They chose the community to try to stay open and make community choices, is that what you said?
Yeah,
Instead, to stay open instead of closing for those that could. I mean, not everybody could. Some people were told to close.
I mean, it's terrible for the people that are close. Like, I'm okay with them not voting to let city council or whatever, because we chose to stay open. Yes, we're hit, but we're still bringing something in
As opposed to
where
nothing.
the other places aren't. I mean, they're not bringing anything in. So, I mean,
So any other?
I don't think
Go ahead.
city council had really stopped to look at how many businesses we have. I got the idea that they wanted to give larger amounts of money, but would be a
Well,
little
they-
bit more helpful, but I don't think they really did the math.
After I allowed y'all to review give me some edits on when I split it apart, I sent both of these to them on Monday, and it didn't look like they never mentioned that. Number of businesses, never mentioned which kind of businesses they wanted to get. They just didn't like what we presented, and that was it. There was no feedback at all whatsoever.
No, there was no
and
direction.
that's what
No
I'm
direction.
wondering. What is
To me,
the actual?
So, it was a hard decision to even call this meeting. I knew we could make some productive conversations and choices and stuff, but do I really think it's a good use of time? I guess only time will tell. All right, so we have another motion on the table, and one before was withdrawn. It mimics, go ahead.
Oh, skip, we're still in discussion. So Andrea's point was very valid, that she doesn't know if city council's gonna go for it. I don't either. Do you have a suggestion? What do you feel like city council would go for?
Well, I mean, your original motion, I think was maybe more what they're looking for. And I don't even know for sure, just based on the meeting today, could we have a couple options that we give them so that we don't have to come back and come up with something else if they
That's
are
sort of what I was
to
thinking
shoot
of when I
that
said
down?
around one.
Because I just don't want to have one option and then get shot down and prolong this whole process.
I'll withdraw that motion.
Okay, I'll withdraw.
I would like to make a motion to prepare for city council 2 options. Without repeating everything I've already said.
The one I Xed out of here.
So you didn't. do
You
all
should
that
erase
work.
it out.
Option 1 being $1,000 for everybody, option 2 being $2,500 tied to all the sales tax rent.
And I think the most important piece to this is that we can help 100 people with option 1. We can help 40 people with option 2.
Or 30 or 50, we don't know.
Well,
But
I mean,
not,
if
certainly
I,
not.
but if I gave them if we gave them the max of 2,500,
It's 40
If-
people.
That's 40.
then it's
Yeah.
40
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, okay, and if there are, we now know, depending on how we calculate, 111 businesses coming in to stay open, that puts into perspective then. Is
That's where my heart is.
I mean, I personally think that it should be $1,000 for everyone. But this gives city council two viable options, and we'll let them make the decision. We'll let them live with it in November.
Yeah, because what makes one business worth another business?
Absolutely.
What makes your business special that you're gonna get it, but we're not gonna give it to you because we ran out of money?
Because you control your overhead to meet your business as opposed to somebody that's spending overhead on a building that they don't utilize, that they don't use all the square footage, or, just because somebody's inefficient with their mortgage or their rent, I think the person's.
People need their money. People need the money.
And they need it now.
They need it now. This doesn't need to go on until city council comes back. It's off their ass on March 7th. Give them some options
Nice to have it.
and tell them, make a decision so the new board on April 30th can start taking applications and get the money to the people.
Okay, let's call for a vote. Those in favor? Option 1, do we need to go through it again? Option 1 and option 2 presented to the council. So those in favor? All in favor? None opposed. Okay, so just a real quick, any other motions? Motion maker. Cindy, it has been a pleasure
Oh,
to
what?
work with you on this board, and Tom, as you as well. You challenged me a lot, and I appreciate it. So we will likely not have next week, keep it tentative, depending on what the city council does. We are likely not to have the 23rd meeting, but if we do, the new board members will probably be appointed. Otherwise, we'll be on our 30th agenda,
And we will ask council to meet next week.
because I was so successful at everything. What we asked them to do before.
Well, is it something that if they oppose both of these, can they, I don't know if they're allowed to or not, I don't know what their ramifications are.
Well,
Can they come up with what they want and tell us
We've been
exactly
ask-
what
we've
they
been
want?
We've been asking.
And that's actually why it took so long for us to get to this point, was because I knew how they were with the budget that we approved back in October with this, when the new people came on to council in November, that, they didn't like anything that we had done with the prior city council and our board. And so they have been challenging us constantly with no direction. Very, very critical with no.
Well, I say that if they don't do this, then both of the boards need to have a special meeting so they can put their 2 cents in on what they want, so we can come up with a motion that's gonna be passed. If
This
this
They
one
can
one,
tell the business community why they're not doing it.
right, because if this is not, that's probably after today's meeting, what should have just been brought up tonight is just to say, we need to have an emergency meeting between the city council and the EDC, so everybody's on the same page instead of how they did it. And that way we know exactly what they want and come up with a motion together.
And hopefully they might kick in some extra money.
So Andrew found something on here, the Pay Me Pretty, that's closed on the round one, I needed to take off. So if y'all feel like it, you wanna send me some edits that maybe came up, I'll update it and send it again. Little lane decker stuff here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lane duckers.
Short timer. I was really looking for the short timer term, but it did not come to mind. Okay, any other discussions as far as future agenda items? Anybody want to? Okay, all right. So we-
Make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
In a second. Thank you.
Art, Cindy, Tom, I've really enjoyed working with each and every one of you.
Me too.
It's time to go.
I'll do that.
I've got a question.
Okay.